1927. Federal agents surround a man in Harlem. Not a gangster, not a bootlegger, a man whose only weapons were words. They say I am a criminal. My only crime is to have dared to dream of a free and powerful black race. My only crime is to have awakened the sleeping giant of the Negro people. His name was Marcus Garvey, and the U.S. government feared him more than any black leader in American history. Why? Marcus Mosiah Garvey wasn't born in America. He was born on the sun-drenched shores of colonial Jamaica, where the legacy of slavery was still an open wound, where power was determined by the shade of your skin. But in books, young Marcus discovered something dangerous. A hidden history, black kings, black empires, African glory that had been deliberately erased. If other races have their great men, their heroes, their nations, we're ours. Why are we taught only of our subjugation and not of our glory? That question became a fire in his chest. He traveled the world searching for answers. London, Central America. Everywhere he went, he saw the same story. Black people divided, dispossessed, exploited. Everywhere except one place he'd never been. Africa, the motherland, calling him home. But first, he would have to wake up a sleeping nation. 1916. Harlem, New York, the burgeoning capital of Black America. Jazz in the air, hope in the streets, but also poverty, discrimination, despair. Then a man stepped onto a soapbox at a corner in Harlem. Brothers and sisters, children of a mighty people, gather round. For too long, we have waited for others to define who we are. But I stand before you today to remind you, we are a nation, not a problem. A people of promise, not a people of pity. A woman in the crowd whispers. Another man promising the moon. We've seen plenty of those. But something was different about this one. He didn't speak of integration. He spoke of independence. He didn't speak of begging for rights. He spoke of building empires. He didn't speak of Africa as a lost home. He spoke of Africa as a future kingdom. Up, you mighty race. You can accomplish what you will. Within 5 years, Marcus Garvey built the largest mass movement in African-American history. Not hundreds, not thousands, millions of members worldwide. The Universal Negro Improvement Association wasn't just a political organization. It was a cultural revolution. Parades, uniforms, titles, pageantry. For the first time, black people saw themselves not as victims, but as royalty. But Garvey knew symbols weren't enough. They needed economic power, real power. So he did something no black person had ever done before. He bought ships. The Black Star Line, a fleet of steamships owned and operated entirely by black people, not passengers on someone else's journey, owners of the vessel. An elderly woman clutches her life savings 5 crumpled dollar bills. I may only have a few dollars to my name, but I'm buying a piece of that ship. It's not just a ship. It's our freedom. It's our future. It's a message to the world that we are a people to be reckoned with. Millions of black Americans invested everything they had. The first ship set sail. Crowds erupted in Harlem. People wept. Grown men fell to their knees. For the first time since their ancestors were dragged across the Atlantic in chains, black people owned ships crossing the ocean, going toward Africa, not away from it. It was the most beautiful dream America had ever seen. And that's exactly why they had to destroy it. In a Washington office, a young, ruthless bureaucrat studied a file. J. Edgar Hoover, director of the Bureau of Investigation. Target, Marcus Garvey. Threat level, extreme. They couldn't silence his voice. Every speech drew thousands. Every parade grew larger. So they attacked the symbol of his success. The Black Star Line. Inexperienced management. Overpriced ships, mechanical failures, and then government sabotage. The investigation was relentless. The scrutiny was hostile. The prosecution was transparently political. The evidence? A single empty envelope used to solicit stock for a ship that hadn't been purchased yet. That's it. That was the crime. By any modern legal standard, the case was absurdly weak. But the jury was all white. The judge was hostile. The verdict was predetermined. Guilty. In the courtroom, Marcus Garvey stood one last time. You can imprison my body, but you can never, ever imprison my ideals. The Negro people have awakened, and no prison, no deportation, no force on earth can put them back to sleep. 1927, convicted, imprisoned, deported, never to return to the country where he had built his empire. The Black Star Line sank. The UNIA fractured. The movement crumbled without its leader. Marcus Garvey died in exile in London, 1940. Broke, forgotten, his dream seemingly dead. But they made one fatal mistake. You can kill a man, but you cannot kill an idea whose time has come. 20 years after Garvey's death, a seamstress named Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat. 10 years after that, a boxer named Muhammad Ali declared, "I am the greatest." 15 years after that, young revolutionaries raised their fists and shouted, "Black power." 50 years after that, a generation would proclaim, "Black Lives Matter." Every single one of them carried Marcus Garvey's DNA. He was the spiritual father of Black pride, the architect of a new consciousness. He taught a people who had been told they were inferior to see their African heritage not as shame, but as glory. Black is beautiful. Those 3 words changed the world, and Marcus Garvey said them first. So why did the government fear Marcus Garvey? Not because he was violent. He never fired a shot. Not because he was criminal. His only crime was ambition. They feared him because he gave millions of people something far more dangerous than weapons. He gave them self-respect. He gave them a vision of themselves as kings and queens. And once a people see themselves as royalty, no force on earth can make them bow again. Marcus Garvey didn't build a physical empire. He built something that lasts forever. An empire of the mind. Up, you mighty race. You can accomplish what you will. His voice still echoes. And the sleeping giant he awakened, it's still rising. In the long, deep shadow of slavery, a new struggle began. Not for freedom from chains, but for dignity, for identity, for a place in a world that still saw us as less than whole. One voice rose above the rest. One voice that changed everything. This was Marcus Garvey, the man they called the Black Moses.